Hi, this is Ray with Get Real Ray, a place and space for life and business tips from this creative soul. Mwah! To help you on your journey. Or at the very least, provide you with some laughs. Hee-haw! So let's get real. Let's get real about time. Your dearest friend or your worst enemy. All right, so recently, this past week, I received an email. And in short, the email stated that all live classes are eligible for the scholarship, meaning students who get the scholarship can sign up for the class regardless of what the teacher's credentials are. Now, on one hand, you might be like, that's horrible. Let me say, in the past few years, I have worked with a number of licensed educators who I'm questioning how they pass the test because they cannot pronounce basic words that you should be able to pronounce, especially because you're a teacher, or they are focused on something that clearly would be what you would focus on with the textbook, but they're not teaching the child how to think for themselves, or they're not teaching the child how to focus. They're not focused on the bigger issues with the child. I'm just going to give you an example so we can stop talking about this, okay? Student writes a paragraph and the teacher's having them correct all the commas and periods and semicolons. Meanwhile, they haven't stopped to think about the fact that this child does not even know how to use a comma. They don't know the rules of commas. This sentence is not just a mess because of the commas, but the whole paragraph is a mess because it's off topic wildly. There's slang in there. There's all kinds of just logic issues. Don't come at me with, oh, we gotta fix these commas and periods and get rid of these fragments and run-ons, when logically, the essay is supposed to be about, do buffaloes have wings? And you over here talking about Buffalo Bill. No, buffaloes don't have wings, you guys, all right? That was a little joke for you. Buffalo wings. All right. That's so weird that came to my brain because I'm vegan. I'm not over here trying to eat no buffalo wings. Okay. And so with that being said, I have also worked with many amazing educators throughout the years. But when it comes to how, say, a doctor might have studied in one area, but then start giving advice on another area that they haven't studied, that doesn't mean that they're not qualified per se in that other area. It just means that maybe they don't have that credential, but they do have experience or whatnot. When your doctor's like, oh, well, have you tried this? It's, you might want to check that out. Right, okay, look, I think you get my point. So there are a number of amazing educators out there. A lot of them are working as teaching artists. They don't have a teacher's credential, but they are very good at their skill. I worked for a number of years as a teaching artist in New York City, teaching dance and acting, because I'd worked as a professional dancer, studied dance for many, many years, worked as a professional actor, done lots of performances. There are acting teachers out there who have only taken the acting class at the university. They've never done any professional work, but they do have the experience that is required for them to get their credential. You see my point, which is it could seem alarming. Oh my gosh, these unlicensed teachers. But there are a number of people who have experience and skills that makes them qualified to teach, even though they haven't taken this test that a certain state may require. So this is really good news for me. The past few years, have gone back and forth over, should I just try to find a program that I can do in order to get a certificate so that I can get more families who can afford my course? Because I'm not going to lower my rate. That's a lot of things that teachers will do when you are self-employed. That's a lot of things that businesses will do when they are a small business. Just lower the price. Even big businesses do this, right? You got that Walmart rollback. You got the Amazon deal days. Lower the price. Groupon's notorious for this. Lower the price and then they'll buy. The problem with Groupon is the price was already lowered. So when they lower it even more, it really brings into question, is this going to be viable for the business that is going to be receiving this new customer? And businesses have to really think carefully, what is it that they can sell in volume where they're willing to take that risk, knowing that the number of repeat customers is going to be very low. Now, with all of that said, I found myself wanting to cry and scream. I used to be in a program where I could accept scholarship recipients directly. Coming to me, they found me on the line. They found me online. They could go to my website, sign up. However, this worked really good with one state, and another state, their requirements said that I had to have certain certification, and I jumped through a lot of hoops for these people. And finally, I'm like, you guys don't have your stuff together. You're all over the place. You tell me one thing, you tell me another thing, I'm out. And I said, cancel my account, close up everything. I had also given 2 lessons to families thinking I was going to get paid and did not get paid. So, not feeling that. So here we are, some 2 years later, and now I can actually get families from this program. So the fact that I went through all this drama beforehand 2 or 3 years ago, that's the part that made me want to scream. The part that made me want to cry said, okay, now I can go ahead, adjust my marketing, get more students. I did check the program to see, well, can I go back to getting things directly? Like, do I have to say, sorry, guys, I know I told you to go F yourselves before, but I was just kidding about that. Let's work together directly. And when I looked, I didn't see that there was a way for me to work with them directly. It looks like I still have to go through this third party. Part of those tears are tears of sadness because I've been looking to get away from the third party. But in terms of tears of joy, this does provide an opportunity where if I do my part, which is focus on adjusting my marketing just a touch, so that way I can attract more families for the programs, actually pretty much all my programs. I can see higher enrollment numbers, which means more profit, even though I'm not creating new product. That was a thing for a while, which was, in order to get more money, you're gonna have to create more products, you're gonna have to offer more services, you're gonna have to be available more, do more. Why is this all a big deal? Well, I am going into year 3 of my debt payoff extravaganza, and having more income is definitely huge right now. I need more money. I just do. And whereas some people might come at it with, oh, money's the root of all evil. If it wasn't for money, there wouldn't be inequality and poverty and starving and pollution, all this stuff. Actually, those things would exist even if money wasn't a thing. With a higher income, I can pay off bills faster, and get closer to a point of being able to save for my own home. This house is beautiful. It is not mine. I'm going to have to leave in a few days, people. Oh, now, while this is all fine and dandy, I did not do anything to make myself eligible for the scholarship recipients. I did not take the certification. Part of the reason I didn't even want to take the certification is because it meant that I would still have to be part of this third party. Oh. And it's also me doubling down on a career path that is not my career. It's what I do to pay my bills, and I do enjoy doing it. So I'm hesitant to just be like, it's a job, because it's a bit more than a job. I do take pride in that work, but it's not my main thing. It's not what I wake up every day going, oh, I can't wait to do this. Shouldn't I be taking my extra pennies and putting that into the thing that is supposed to be my career, the thing that I wake up every day going, oh my gosh, I hope I get to do this today, right? And so, with all that being said, given that I did not change anything on my side, there's a key factor that made all the difference, and that's time. 110% time. Oh, yes. I waited it out. I stuck it out. And I was listening to a podcast recently for the acting community, and the interviewer was asking, there was a father-son as the guest on this podcast. And so she was asking the older of the two about the change in the industry from when he started to now. And one thing the gentleman brought up was time, is that there are fewer actors his age now in the industry, but there's also less work. And then they got into this whole thing about less work. But that's something I remember being told about when I was a young chickadee starting out in the acting world, is once you reach that 18 to 30 range, that zone, there's a lot of competition. You've got a lot of young people who are going to acting school or just have that freedom of not having to be committed to doing whatever their parents say. They are in a position to make lots of decisions for themselves. They have more flexibility in their schedule. They're also willing to be scrappy. Whoop, whoop. And they are okay with eating ramen, or okay with working on set for a 10-hour, 12-hour day, or going to set 8 o'clock at night for an overnight shoot, and then having to leave set at 3 or 5 in the morning. And now the next day is like wrecked. And then once you get past age 30, you're gonna find more of those people are looking to start families. They are thinking about how are they gonna have that car, that home. They're that little less scrappy feeling. And so when the 30 to mid 40s, people are trying to acquire things for themselves. Maybe they want a car or a house, or maybe they want to be able to take thvacation, and maybe they just want to be able to live in an apartment without 10 roommates. These are things, people. And so if you start acting in your 18 to 30s, it's going to be very complicated, and there's a lot of competition. But if you start younger, there's less competition. If you start after the 30s, there's less competition, but there's still more competition in your 30s to mid 40s than there is after you pass the mid 40s. And then of course, when you're in the 60s, a lot of people are like, acting, why would I do that? I'm gonna go play pickleball. And so there's less competition there. It becomes a waiting game. It becomes a waiting game. you find yourself as an artist going, well, I know things are rough now, but if I hang in there, there's gonna be less people that look like me that are in the acting world, or because they want to have a retirement fund, because they want to have a nice car, because they want to have a home, these kinds of things. Now in dance, time becomes your enemy in a way. As you get older, one's body has more wear and tear. And also hormones change, which changes how your body is processing food and energy. With that being said, there is the feeling of, I need to do these performances now before I reach a point in my life when I physically cannot do it, or I don't have the stamina to do it. It is such a gift when a singer decides to come out of retirement, or a band comes out of retirement in order to perform for people live, because their bodies move differently. Vocally, things are going to be different. And so they are putting a lot to giving us, the audience, just a little bit of that last energy. Like, I'm talking like they're dying. They're not dying, but they are really putting a lot into making sure they give us the very best at every performance. And so when I do see people, or when I did, because I'm not on social media anymore, but when I did see people on social media saying, oh, this isn't like when I saw them 20 years ago, or they should have stayed retired, those people have no idea what it takes to have that bravery to expend that amount of energy. One more time. And so while time has been on my side in the land of acting and in the land of this online class that I'm going to be teaching, or online classes that I teach, I definitely feeling it staring me in the face, like, what you gonna do when it comes to my work as a movement artist. It definitely takes me longer to prepare for classes, and I do worry if I'm going to be able to properly prepare and deliver for performances. That's something that's in my world. But this ain't about me, boo. It's about you. And it's about time. It's about time. It's about time we talk about how time is affecting your life. So when you were younger, you may have felt, especially if you were born and raised in the US, you've got all the time in the world to think about saving up for retirement, or you can travel the world after your kids are grown and they're out of the house and you don't have to worry about them no more. You may feel that time is unlimited, but it's not. It's not. And regardless of whether or not you believe in reincarnation, the fact is, this life right now is the only life that you can prove is existing. So you may have an afterlife, don't matter. This life right now. Time is passing. Time is passing while we're doing this video. Oh my goodness, you and I together, or this podcast, time is passing. And so one wants to think not just how you're using your time, which is a lot of what we talk about on this channel in terms of productivity, but also how can you look at time as being your friend. So definitely think about where in your life is time going to be your enemy. Time is going to not be on your side if you are making decisions that are just kind of wasteful of time, right? So you feel you need to unwind on the regular, and so you've given yourself this gift of, I am going to unwind by scrolling, yay, for hours on end. Maybe that's not a good use of your time. So maybe you set up other ways to still reward yourself, but still keeping time on your side. What do you mean? Okay, if you know that your company is going to need some new managers in the next year or two, you can see that there's already expansion within the company, then now is the time to enroll in a course that will allow you to develop the skills that are needed for a manager, or to find someone within that company to mentor you and to really start building those skills, so that when it comes time to look around for, well, who can become a manager internally? Let's not hire externally for this. Oh, wait a minute. This employee right here, here's looking at you, kid, has the skills that we need. Let's talk. If you are someone who loves the way you look and you want to look good when you older, I'm just saying, then maybe instead of party all the time, one could look at, well, what am I eating right now? What am I consuming? How am I spending my time and energy? Okay, it might look good to smoke because then you're not eating as much and then you stay slim, but is it staining your teeth? And then those stained teeth, is that going to also continue to negative impact to you in other ways? Like now you have to spend more time and energy trying to find teeth whiteners. Maybe if you stop smoking, you are helping out the future. Less wrinkles, less likely having yellow teeth, and less bad breath, and people just want to be around you. And so you're saying to your future you, hey future you still look good. Okay, now, yes, you can manage your time now so that way you get the things you want in the future. Kind of obvious, right, guys? But also know that if there's something that you want and you haven't gotten it yet, look at whether or not just waiting it out will be a benefit to you. Now, if you are a squatter, I am not talking about waiting it out in someone's home and just squatting until the courts finally have you evicted. That's just stupid. Don't do that. And you know who you are. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? We're talking about the ethical waiting game. You don't want to put yourself in a position where the waiting game is not your friend. Like my ex, who would just kind of wait, hoping that those bills would go away. He's not alone in that department. There are a lot of people who've done this. I myself went through a phase back when I was younger, like, oh, I don't want to open that bill. Ooh. But the bill ain't gonna go away. Now, you might be saying, well, Ray, in the United States, it'll only be on your credit report for 7 years. However, during that time, the courts could be coming after you. You don't want to be the person trying to hide your car from the repo man. Don't do that. Don't do that. What you do want to do is, if time is not going to be your friend, right? If time is going to be like, oof, if you wait on that, you're going to have to pay higher interest. You're going to have to pay a fine. If you wait on that, the proposal will go to someone else. Someone else will get the deal. If you wait on that, things are not going to go in your favor. There's a good chance things won't go in your favor, or there is a chance things won't go in your favor. Then no, don't be waiting. By me waiting in the acting world, still putting myself out there, but not giving up, it's not that I'm never going to act again. I still have to divide my energy to keep my bills paid, and I don't have all the nice things that I would love to have right now in life. But I've decided that acting is really important to me, and it's something I'm willing to wait to. I'm not going to go put myself in some vertical that is going to clone me and then try to use the AI version of me to keep making money off me. And I'm over here crying like, but I spent the $5,000 I already made and y'all making billions off this face. Woo. Okay. Now, with that being said, if it's something where your waiting is going to have bad consequences, don't play the waiting game, especially if you can help it. So instead of waiting on that bill, right? One wants to address it right away. Okay, I may not have the money, but let me tell them I don't have the money. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can work out. Is there a way I can get the money? Is there something else I can do? Because yes, that debt would fall off after 7 years, but you also have to keep in mind how long before the company decides that that debt is not collectible. That's when the 7-year clock starts. And there are some companies who will send you to different collection agencies. They can sell the debt that they wrote off to get their tax break. They can sell it to another company. And now you have a more aggressive company calling you, harassing you, emailing you, looking for your car in order to collect on that debt. So you've created another worry, another problem for yourself because you were trying to play the waiting game with your debt. And think about all the things you can't get because you were playing the waiting game with your debt. Maybe you want to get a new car, or maybe you're trying to get an apartment, or maybe you found the love of your life long since you created that debt. And you guys are now trying to get a loan or hire wedding vendors, and you can't get that loan, or you can only get a high interest loan, or you are finding you're looking at your love of your life and they're looking at you like, oh, your credit is like that? We can't get the car we wanted. We can't get a credit card, a good credit card, in order to make the down payment to the wedding vendor because you was over here playing the waiting game with your school loans or with that credit card or something else. In the US, it's very easy to spend money. You can walk out your door, sneeze, and pay for it, right? Like, it's very easy to spend money. But remember, making money takes more time. And so do yourself a favor and remember that if you're playing the waiting game, play smart. Use your time in a way that is going to allow you to get the things you want. So, what have we learned today, kids? Well, we've learned that sometimes you don't have to do anything to get what you want. Isn't that beautiful? You don't have to do anything other than keep being true to you, as long as you're not being a crazy squatter, or dodging the repo man, or just being completely negligent and silly. Don't be silly. And also know that it's okay. It's okay to wait. There are going to be times in your life when maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just give up. I've seen a number of parents let their child quit something because the child wasn't great at it right away. It's one thing to lose interest, but it's a completely different thing to let your child quit because they're not good. It makes me very sad when I hear parents say to me, oh, my daughter's not good at dancing, but neither am I. And I'm thinking, your child loves dancing. Whether or not she's good at it is completely irrelevant. My child's not good at karate. He never listens. He's always getting in trouble in class. But does your kid like it? If you are a parent watching this, then please don't worry about if your child is good at something. Think more about, are they enjoying that activity before you pull them out? Because it happens so frequently. And then these kids wind up carrying this idea that they aren't good at XYZ, And then that pattern just perpetuates. Meanwhile, maybe with a little bit more time, not only could XYZ be something that they enjoyed, but it could also become something that they're good at or maybe great at. Sometimes the right teacher can help them find what they're great at. And so, my friends, I hope you found this enjoyable, because it's about time we end this video or podcast episode. And until next time, peace.